to that, did you guys like that how to man up thing I did last week? Because I got another one for you. Because I think it was like the next, or that morning, I got a haircut. So this is going to be how to man up, how to get a haircut. And I guess it was like a month ago or something. I was making fun of EK, and I was like saying, "Oh, EK's on his way to the salon. You know, I'm gonna go with him and get a pedicure. You know, because men don't go to salons." But EK explained to me that, you know, I got hookups over there. You know, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I understand that. You know, so. But, you know, I'm still going to bust his chops for it, you know what I mean? Because men go to a barbershop. All right, that's what men do. And the morning of last week's shows when I got my hair cut, and I got to tell you, you know, it was an experience. It was one of those things that I was like, oh, I guess I know what I'm doing for the man up thing next week. Because I was getting my hair cut, and this is how I get my hair cut. I walk in there, I know what I want. I walk in, I say I want a fade, starting at 1, moving up, and quite a bit off the top because my head thinks it's its career to grow thick, hot hair. It makes me sweat. And so I sat down as a female barber. It happens. You know, it's like a modern times and so forth. But, I mean, that means I have to modify my behavior to some degree because I'm a gentleman. All right. So I'm like halfway through the haircut, and this other guy comes in. And he's sitting down on the bench, and the other barber was finishing up with the other guy. The other guy got up, paid, and walked down. And goes, the guy swept a little bit and said, "All right, sir, I'm ready to take you." The whole time, that guy who was sitting waiting for his turn, he's sitting there like digging through his cell phone. You're like, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. You know, it's like, look at his stuff. And then he sits down in the chair right next to me, and the barber says, "Okay, what can I do for you?" And the guy pulls out his phone, and he starts showing him pictures on Instagram. He says, I kind of want something like this. And he starts swearing like crazy. Like every other word was F, every other word was S. I don't need that shit. You know, I got out of the Army 50 years ago. This guy was like 20 years my senior. All right. He was in his late 60s, if you ask me. And he's pulling out his phone, showing pictures of other men on Instagram saying, I want this kind of haircut. And he's swearing a lot. And my barber's female. All right. So I figured, I saw this guy go through this process, and I figured this is a perfect opportunity to teach people how to man up when it comes to getting a haircut. Number 1, know what you want before you walk in the door. That's what I do. Know what you want before you walk in the door. All right? Don't sit there and speculate with your barber, like, what do you think will look good on me? If you want to talk like that, go to a salon and ask a woman. All right? A barber wants instructions. Only a salon hairdresser will take suggestions, you know, barely. Eventually, they're going to just do what they want to do, which is the reason why I have such a bad haircut. Because whenever I get a haircut by a woman, they see my thick, wavy hair, and they can't bring themselves to cut it. Seriously, this has happened all throughout my life. I'd go get a haircut, and if it's a female person cutting my hair, it's like, your hair's so nice, I don't want to cut it. It's like, I'm sorry your husband's bald, but give me the haircut I want because I'm sweating all night. Know what you want, number 1. Number 2, don't swear if there's a female in the room. If it's a barbershop, a real barbershop full of men, swear away. We're all men, but we're gentlemen. And that's why you don't want to swear too much around women. All right? That's just, I don't know, a crazy chivalry thing. And maybe I'll talk about chivalry next week. But right now I'm talking about getting a haircut. Also, don't chit-chat. Chit-chat, if it's a barbershop full of men and it's a conversation you're interested in, that's fine. If they're sitting there talking about the game last night or the game that's coming up or which sport is better, absolutely jump into those conversations where you feel an opening. But if you're a male barber and you have a male customer and you start asking, like, oh, how's your wife? Tell me about your kids. This is not what men want to talk about. All right? That's what women want to talk about. You want to talk about stuff like that, go to a salon. The hairdressers will care more. All right? It's the difference between a barbershop and a salon is a barbershop does a functional service. A salon is half a haircut, half therapy. All right? Know what you want, number 1. Number 2, don't talk. Don't talk. The best haircut I ever had in my life was at the Navy Exchange. As I go in there, I walk in, and it's like there's this Filipino guy, you know, I had to have my chair almost to the floor to get a haircut by him. but I said, I'd give me a high and tight, like I just walked out of boot camp. I don't know how much of that he understood, because he certainly didn't understand the 10 words I said after. I had about a total of 27 words I said to this guy. And it was the best haircut I ever had in my life. And all he did was take the clippers, different attachments. Wang, 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 wang. It took about 5 minutes. Didn't say a word to me. I shook his hand. I tipped him well. I said, thank you. Thank you so much. This is the best haircut I ever had. There's too many people who want to just, as all that flapping of your gums, your hands aren't moving. I do not want to maximize the time a stranger is behind me with a sharp object. All right. You know why? Because I'm a man and I get nervous about stuff like that. I've seen way too many mafia movies where people get hit in a barbershop. You know what I mean? That's how you get a haircut, like a man. One of my favorite scenes is in what's that called? Gran Torino, is when he goes to the barbershop and he's trying to teach that kid how to talk like a man. So he goes to the barbershop and he makes that mistake about that joke. It's like, oh, boy, is my ass hurting from all those guys on my job site all day. And he screwed it up, and they all got a laugh out of it. And that's what talking like a man is. All right? It's okay to have male conversations in an all-male barbershop, but you don't want to talk about your feelings. You don't want to talk about, it's like, do you think you could give like a massage? You have one of those neck things, but it's not a pampering thing. It's a functional thing. It's hot. I want my hair cut. I don't even understand men who go to barbershops to get a shave. All right. I mean, I guess I understand it like in 30s and 40s where like you had one bathroom on an entire floor, in an apartment building in the city. And so you just go down to the local barbershop and get a shave, instead of fighting every guy on the floor for the sink. But nowadays it's like, there's really no reason for you to get a shave at a barbershop anymore, even though they still have those poles that are supposed to be the little swirl things that are supposed to be like blood strips. Because people back in, barbershops in like early 1900s stuff, they're basically like your primary urgent care centers, as well. And so imagine the business they were making back then. And there's one more thing I have to mention, and that's about bad haircuts like the one I got. If you get a bad haircut, you say thank you, you tip them, and you leave. And you always tip, even if you're unhappy with it. Even if you don't like it, even if you think they did a bad job, you say thank you, good job, tip them, and leave, and don't come back to them. All right? It's very simple. But at the same time, you don't want to be the guy who comes in the next time and says, you come to this barber again, and you're like, no, thanks, I'm going to wait for someone else. You can't do that. What you can do is say, I might come back tomorrow. I'm actually late for something. I can't wait any longer. I got to go. I thought I would have time, but I guess not. Even look at your fake watch. Nobody wears those things anymore unless you're trying to prove something. Bet your bureau. So, I mean, if you don't like the haircut, you tip them and leave, and you should be man enough to have your own clippers at home and just go and shave it all off. Start again next time. All right? It's a functional thing, getting a haircut. It's not therapy. So that's how to man up getting a haircut.